$42 million in distributions, a $46.2 million exit, $106 million in a weekend. Most people hear those numbers and think, oh, that's probably when he felt the richest. That's actually not the truth. The moment that I felt the wealthiest in my entire life was when I had $100,000 in my bank account. That was the first big unlock for me as a person. And the reason is before that, I was sleeping on a gym floor and doing math on whether I could afford groceries. Right? And once I had $100,000, that was when I stopped having to worry about tomorrow, right? About paying rent, about paying dues, about paying my cell phone bill, or paying my car insurance. You can't think about your long-term vision if you're trying to pay rent, right? That's just real. And so in this video, I wanna give you a 6-step roadmap as clear as humanly possible to making and banking your first $100,000. If you're a big baller business owner, then you can skip this one. But if you don't have that yet, then this is just a pure give on my part of trying to help you get there. The first step is that we have to cut all costs so that we can take more risk. When I say all costs, I mean all costs. That means you don't eat out anymore for anything. And if you're hungry, you deal with it. And if it's not from a discount grocery store, you don't buy it. Clothing, like, what you have right now on your back is everything you need for the next 2 years, period. No exceptions, just keep reusing it, trade or go to Goodwill. You go to work, you go home, and home is ideally with your family or worst case, with another family also trying to make it and save. And it's gotta be as cheap as you possibly can. And I say this as somebody who lived through this. When I was beginning my journey, I was splitting a bedroom in a 6-bedroom house with one guy, just in that bedroom, as in like every night we'd stare at each other and I'd be like, good night, John. And he'd be like, good night, Alex. And I'd blow out my candle. Everything about that was true minus the candle. And pro tip, if you sleep with a fan on your face, you can't hear anything. So, you know, if you have to deal with it, that's one way to do it. But I had roommates that I was paying like $300 or $400 a month for a very long time while I was beginning my business and started to actually make real money, and I still stayed there. Now, the next thing is gonna be your car. So if we think about expenses, ideally a paid off clunker is the best way to go. If you can't, you want it to be as cheap as humanly possible, but ideally just pay off your car so you don't have to think about it again. All right, so that covers your food, your car, your shelter. And the reason that this is so important for us to basically stack up this cash flow, because you're working and making money, but right now you're probably spending all of it. So it's like we need to decrease it from the downside so we have this cash flow, this fluff that we can start spending and reinvesting in getting more skills, which I'll talk about in a second. All right, real quick, if you're on this path to your first 100K, I want to make it faster and easier for you. So these books, I had 3.6 million of these books that were donated by other entrepreneurs. These books I'm personally donating. And so if you are on the path, you can get all 3 of these.